Oh shit.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to the Angel and Tony Show. We have our fourth guest, the lovely Emilie. Hi, Em.
Hi.
Em is one of the powerful boss lady women that I have met out in LA, and she's been amazing ever since I've met her. You know, we've been able to work together on cool projects like Comic-Con and just a various amount of red carpets. She's definitely one of those people who I look up to and think of as a mentor figure out in LA.
Oh, that's so nice. I didn't know that.
It's true.
That's so real. Oh my gosh. That's so nice.
So I wanted to bring her on the show because I'm a newer business owner and she's been doing this for quite some time now. And what I've found is that no matter what type of position I come in, whether it's a position of power or the CEO of a company, I feel like I'm always underestimated. So I kind of wanted to see what your experience was and what your journey was as far as entrepreneurship. How did you get your start in PR?
Yeah, so when I started PR, I had moved here from New York, and I was kind of like lost and like wandering, and I went to this career coach, and I took the Myers-Briggs test. Have y'all taken this?
I have not, but I know what it is.
Yeah.
What is it?
I'm an ETSJ. So it's like a personality test, and it tells you like in a really analytical way like what your natural aptitudes are, and like you know if you need help, I needed help. So then one of my things on there was communications, and then my friend Shauna grew up here in LA, and her dad is an actor, and she was like, have you tried PR? And I was like, what the heck is that? Because I grew up in the Bay Area where everyone was just like a lawyer or in tech, and so I was like, what the hell is PR? So
you're not from New York then?
No, I'm from Oakland.
Oh, okay.
Which is like, you know, it's like
It's
kind of New Yorky. But yeah, so I interned for this online magazine. I was like beyond intern age, but I was like, you know what, I just want to like give it a go, see what PR and journalism is. So I interned for an online magazine. I liked it. I signed up for the UCLA Extension Certificate Program in Public Relations because I did not get my bachelor's in anything remotely related to PR. And then I took an assistant job, like several years past being of assistant, typical assistant age, to start at the bottom, and I just did good work and kept going up and up from there.
So did you feel any sort of way by being like older and doing these things?
Oh, fully. Like that assistant job, like I would go to the interview and like everyone leaving, I was like, oh my god, are you even out of college yet? like the license plate's like Delta Kappa, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm like, I already have like an IRA. Like, I don't even know like what is happening right now.
Yeah. No, I know that is too, and it's one of those things too where you just kind of have to make that sacrifice and like, hey, you go away and just be like, well, this is what it is.
Fully, like it was very humbling, and like I was like waitressing at the same time because it was like this assistant job I had for like 25 hours a week. Like can't live in Los Angeles on that, and so it was like a very humbling experience to be like, you know, like a 25-year-old, 26-year-old assistant, you know, like just starting in an industry where like people that age a lot of the times are already like coordinators or like assistants or you know full-on publicists at that time. So
at that time, did you have a plan or like? Were you just kind of like, let's see where this goes?
No, I kind of just wanted to like see where it went, but like I'm very competitive, like in my nature, and so I think that helped me seize opportunities when I saw them.
When you were in that role, like, were you working under like men, women? Who were you working under?
I was working under my friend, a girl Cheryl, who we're friends with. She's part of How I Met Angel, which was like our Power Asian Lady group.
Okay.
We now have opened it up to non-Asian people,
Yeah.
but at the time it was, you know,
We're
yeah, stick together.
Yeah.
But now we're open. We're open for membership, and
now we're inclusive. Right?
We are inclusive. You have to be powerful, but you can be of all colors. So I met through Cheryl, and she was the one that advocated to hire me. And so she was my direct boss, and Cheryl is a very different personality type from me. She's so nice that I thought she was like playing me, that she was like gonna sabotage me later. And so I was like on guard with her. I'm like, why do you want to get me coffee? Like, like white innocence. Like I had no trust in her, and I think that's like a problem that like females bring to other females.
Totally.
Is like you create drama where like no drama lives, and like I've been friends with Cheryl now for like a decade, and I'm like, oh no, you're just genuinely like the nicest person I've ever met.
Right, because you're so afraid.
You're so afraid and
somebody.
threatened. Yeah, because there's so few opportunities for women that like once you get an opportunity, if there's another woman there, you're like, oh bitch, I won't read you. But you have to like stop yourself.
No, that's so true though. You want this whole sisterhood to happen. Like ideally that's what you want to happen. But when you see that there's not that many of us, it becomes a competition.
Yes.
And then you end up bringing an ego with you. You're fighting the wrong people.
Yes.
Like we should not be fighting each other.
Yes.
We should be fighting for more spots.
Yes.
It's just crazy to me.
That's crazy. That's interesting to me because I never thought about that. Because I always felt like the equality issue was kind of like we were the bad guys in that, and that was it. Because when you see it like in public, when people are advocating for it, it does come across as like this united front. But I never like thought about that aspect of it, of just like the sharkiness, like crabs in a barrel type mentality.
Honestly, you would think that, but there's been times, even recently, where I have come across, fellow creatives, and we would set out to meet or do, collaborate on something, and it would be this ego trip. If I don't answer a phone call right away or get to an email right away, it's like they freak out about something. Like basically like I need to like wait hand and foot for somebody or something.
No, I find that like women, we hold ourselves back a lot. Like Cheryl was my first boss, but the guy above that was a dude. And he was very much like, it's alpha, Jersey, like, bruh, right? Yeah. And like, so like, that means what you think it means, right?
Right.
Very nice guy, like still friends with him to this day. But he was like a bruh. And then after that, my next boss was like this flamboyant PR gay guy, you know, like just kind of like ticking all like the stereotypical boxes. But I found that like while I didn't feel like there was enough higher management opportunities for women, that's why I thought I had to create my own. I found that I was holding myself back because of these like societal or subconscious patterns of behavior, like thinking, oh, there can't be two of us. Like I remember reading about the confidence gap, like early in my career, they had this example in The Atlantic, this article had this example that men apply for promotion when they meet 50% of the qualifications. But women don't apply for the promotion until they meet 100.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, that's some fucked up shit.
Because I've been asked a lot of that, a lot of times too, because I work with like mostly women, and I feel better about it because I always feel more comfortable because I'm like, if I'm working under a woman, like she knows what she's talking about. Like I don't even question it. And I feel like that's probably why. I didn't even know that, but like I feel like that's probably why. Because a lot of times when there is a woman in a position of power, like she's had to work harder to get there. So like I kind of can blindly trust what they're saying most of the time. So I'm like, I'm good. Like
when I struck it on my own, like I really thought about that study because when you, as y'all know, when you start going out there by yourself as your own business, like you need work.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I can 100% do this campaign because I haven't done a campaign exactly like this before and I don't know. But I thought about that study and I was like, if I was a dude, I would just be like, yes. Like, I will represent your comic book, I will represent your TV show, I will represent your podcast, I will represent everything. And so like, it really empowered me to just start saying like yes to stuff and being like, I'm gonna try my best to kill it and like trust in myself and trust in my skills and like, sometimes you just need to like jump, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was like the biggest thing, like as a female entrepreneur, like I feel like the biggest hurdle I had to surmount was trusting myself that I can bank on my work ethic and my skills and my network of people, to like get the job done.
I mean, how many years did I speak to you about me branching?
Oh my God, I was like, Angela, open the LLC. Open the LLC. Open the LLC. For like 3 years before you did though.
Really?
I met Angel, when was that? Like 2007, 8 at Comic-Con?
No, it was 2000.
Or at WonderCon? 2009?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys go back. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
Angel came to photograph a panel that we did. And I was like, who's this person? I really like her. And then like every time I need something, I was like, hey, Angel.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was definitely awesome. And I had been talking to you about quitting for a while, but I had the same hesitation. oh, can I do this? That consistent 2-week paycheck is so nice.
Mm-hmm.
What if I fail? I don't have health insurance.
Right.
So many things.
Right. I mean, like, and I feel like I should disclose that, like, when I struck on my own, like, I was married. Well, I still am married. But at the time, I was married, and my husband had a every 2-week paycheck job, and we had benefits through him. So I did strike on my own from, like, a privileged position in that regard. Like,
you had somewhat of a safety net.
Because there was a safety net. Yeah. And, like, we made that decision as a couple, looking into the future, forecasting financially, and seeing, like, what we could live with. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I do need to acknowledge that.
Sure. No.
You know?
Absolutely.
Let's all recognize our privilege.
What made you realize that you wanted to start your own firm?
I didn't really know I wanted to start my own. I feel like I was kind of, like, forced to by the atrocious working conditions that I was under at the time. Like, no joke. Like,
You were pushed into it?
I was pushed into it because, like, the working conditions were, like, so
brutal.
atrocious.
Yeah.
That I was like, there has got to be a better way.
Yeah.
So I started my own thing in October of 2013, and July of 2013 I had my first child, and so I had just come back from maternity leave, and I honestly don't think they expected me to come back because I don't think they budgeted in the rest of my salary. Because when I got back, all of a sudden it was like all hands on deck. We need to hire new clients for this agency, like, immediately, or we're not going to make payroll. And I was like, oh, that's odd. That's really strange.
Whatever predicament to be in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And so then one night my son got really sick, and we went to the ER, and we had to stay there overnight. And they said, you know, you have to keep him home for like 72 hours because he had like a viral infection. And I emailed my boss, and I was like, I can't come in the next 3 days. I'll work from home. And this is a place that had a flexible work schedule, so I was like, this is gonna be no big deal. And he emailed me back. I will never forget till I die. And he said, I've never heard of someone knowing how long they were going to be out sick. I think there's something else going on. And I was like, oh no. Like, you think I'm like on a cruise ship going to Greece or some shit? Like, my son is in the motherfucking ER. Like, are you kidding me? And so then I turned to my husband, I was like, I'm quitting. And I called my dad at like 10 o'clock at night, and he's a CFO up in San Francisco, or he retired 2 years ago. And I said, Dad, open an LLC. Because I am quitting this fakakta job.
Yes.
And my husband was like, okay.
Cool.
So, like, over the next 24-hour period, when I was home with my son, legitimately. So, over the next 24-hour period, we like looked at the finances and figured it out, and I was like, yeah. So then I emailed my boss the next day, and I was like, hey, so I'm quitting. I am going to become a consultant. I highly recommend you hire me because I'm the only point of contact you have on all of these accounts.
Wow.
Beast mode.
So, yeah, so I was like, I recommend you hire me. This is my rate.
Hey.
Thank you.
I'm on that.
So, like, that shit worked out. And I was consulting for that firm for like a year or two until I finally said goodbye to them and I had only my own accounts I handled under my own brand name. But while I was consulting for them and weaning off their accounts under their brand name, I was over here building my own accounts. And they were fully aware of this. It was all above board. It was all in my contract with them. But that really helped transition. So, like, I didn't really prepare to strike out on my own. I felt like I was forced by this horribleness.
Everything that's interesting about that too is that, like, it came out of like being a mom, which is another thing that I looked at recently. Was like women are expected to do like things like be a mom, or some people will be like being a stay-at-home mom isn't like a job or whatever, and it's like that's a lot of work. And then
it's the hardest job. Like, no joke. Like, I know people say it as a cliche, but like when I have to stay home with both my kids when like their schools are out, I'm like gonna murder myself.
Yeah.
Like, it is so hard.
Yeah. A friend of mine's a photographer, a wedding photographer, and I stayed at her house for a weekend. She's in Arizona. I watched her like doing her job. Like, she owns her own business as a photographer, so she's dealing with clients, like editing photos, doing this stuff. And her two kids were like bouncing off of stuff, and I was editing a video that I shot with her, and it was giving me an anxiety attack. Like they're gonna kill themselves, and she was just like, and then would stop and like deal with it, and then go back to. And I was like, how are you not exhausted? And she woke up before me and like went to sleep after me, and I was just like, wow.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But I feel like having kids, like ever since I had kids, I feel like it's really focused me when I am working. Because I'm like, if I'm going to spend time away from my family right now and pay for childcare and, you know, take that hit, like, this
make up for
better excite me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this better be worth it.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Which is another reason why I had to leave and strike out on my own. But yeah, and then, you know, now that I look around and like, a lot of my friends who are also like TV producers or any aspect of the entertainment industry, you're looking around and you're like, where are the women over 45? I know people age, but like, where are they? And like in PR especially, you look around and it's like, if they're older women, they are single, you know? It is, you're like, where are the moms?
Where the OGs at?
Where the OGs?
Yeah. It's a very young business in general.
Mm-hmm.
All across the board of like everything.
Do you think that's because they're pushed out, or do you think they're just like, I'm over this lifestyle?
I think that has a lot to do with it. I also think that there is a certain amount of like inhospitability in the working conditions, in the working environment. There is a certain amount of non-flexibility, and like, you know, in every relationship when you're taking care of someone, whether that be like a child or like, you know, a needy animal or whatever, like there's always one person in the relationship who's like the default caregiver, and societally that is just the woman, right? So like, it's hard to keep advancing in your career when you have to keep taking steps back. Yeah, it's true. And after you have a kid, people think that like you lost half your brain. Like when I was pregnant, people would be like, "Oh, pregnancy brain." I'm like, "No, bitch, I just didn't bring my notes for this meeting."
I think you're such a rare breed, Em, though, because you're doing both, and
Thanks.
I think that's very rare.
Thanks, girl. I'm
That is-
trying.
No, that is so rare.
I'm trying. I mean, I've had my kid like on conference call. I've been like, "Shh, mommy's stay." Now my kids know. They're like, "Mommy's on a work call."
That's what I mean. That's that superhero thing that I'm just like, yo, I don't think that gets enough credit because I don't even have kids, and I'm like, yeah, I don't even see how I can't even have a dog. Like,
it's hard. There are some dope programs out now, though. Like there's this one PR firm. I think they're based out of New York, but they have this like re-entry program for like moms coming back into the workforce, where they hire moms coming back on like entry level coordinator position, so that they can start building their resume again and not have like such a work history gap. So I feel like as women, we're now getting to a point where we are lifting each other up instead of like being like, oh great, one less person in my way, like let me just keep them down. Like we're finding opportunities to lift up each other. And like I have 2 virtual assistants and they're both moms, and it's a great relationship. Like one is in Florida and one is in Texas, and like they can work whenever they can, and like I try to be sensitive to like deadlines and when I need them on calls and whatnot, and it's great.
Going to a company and like looking at these positions and being like, there's no room for women here. Like, what is the deciding factor of that? Like, what makes you say that, oh, like, there's no room for women there?
I think, like, that's a really good question. I think when you look at the C-level and the upper management and you see who is making the decisions, how many women are in the room, right? How many people of color in the room? And then I also look at how many parents are in the room. Because, like, it takes a certain kind of person. I hope it would be every person, but like if someone has an emergency with their kid and they have to leave because their kid like broke their arm at the playground, which has happened to colleagues of mine, like someone's got to be cool with that person leaving. You know what I mean? And everyone likes to say that they are, but like they're really not.
No,
you know what I mean?
I definitely like witnessed that firsthand.
There's been shade, and like when I was at that particular firm that like sent me that email, like there would be shade and blowback because I had to leave at 4:30. Every day I was in the office to get up over the hill, to get to daycare, to pick up my kid by 6 because traffic is atrocious, right? And if I don't pick up my kid by 6, like not only is he the last kid there feeling like he's abandoned, sitting on the steps, but like I start getting charged crazy overtime, and I got so much shade. And it didn't matter that I started working at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, and other people would roll in at 10. Like, those people would give me so much shade for not being at my desk at 7:30. You know? So, like...
No, totally.
I think, like, looking at that and the culture, and, like, it all trickles down from the top, right? So, like, if I'm looking around the room and I see a bunch of, like, older white guys, like, who might all be, like, saying the right stuff, but I'm like, do you really understand? Like...
You're right.
Where we're coming from? I don't know. I don't do that anymore, though, because I work for myself. So I look around the room and I'm like, oh, everyone's beautiful.
But even then, like for me, even then, so like I work primarily in automotive and it's very male dominated.
It's very male dominated.
Very. A lot of my clients, they'll give me the authority to pretty much like filter out any other vendors. You know, so I'll meet with so and so from this company or so and so from this company, and they usually say if they can get through you, Angel, they can then I'll listen to them. Okay, so there's been a couple instances where the vendor they'll show me their product and I'm like, no. And then my client will forward me a day later an email from them where they skipped me, went directly to my client and says, hey, I don't think that Angel understood the product correctly. And then so my client will forward that to me, CC that vendor. This has happened multiple times. And it's literally one of my favorite things to motherfuck these people. So like
you're like, reply all, see below.
Yes. So no, I didn't even reply all. I'll call them. Yeah, I've called that.
Dude, she's a thug, man. That's why I'm rocking with her
she's
for so
from
long.
Chicago, though.
I've called the vendor and I said, do you not respect me as a colleague? Literally, and that's how I'll intro it. I'm like, because I already told you no and you're going directly to the client when the client specifically told you to talk to me. And if you can get through me, then you can talk to him. But then you decided you're just going to skip a step because I told you no. And then they were all flustered like, oh, no, we didn't mean any disrespect. I'm like, you didn't mean any disrespect because it didn't go your way. Because my client is loyal to me. My client forwarded me that email. But you were trying to snake behind me.
You tried it.
They tried it.
You tried
but it didn't work. You know, and I always feel like I have to do that.
Wow.
Like in that line of business. It's tough. You have to have this like strong persona where you can't take things personal. You have to, stand your ground too. And if you have to mother F someone, you do
so
it.
be it.
Gangster. I've never walked into a building and then turned around and left and it was like in flames behind me. I've never gone.
What a visual.
I've never gone that gangster where I've like thrown the Molotov behind me and then walked
With the
away.
shades on?
Yeah, no, I've just been like but like
I told her though, like, just because I've seen you like in work mode like a few times, and I told her that for this episode that I thought you would be perfect for her because I was like, I think Emilie's scary. And I was like, I think she's nice, but like I'm scared of her a little bit.
oh, thank you.
Because
Is that the greatest compliment?
and I was like, because she's nice and like she smiles at you, but it's like I will slit your throat at the same time. And so it's
I
like,
told you it's so.
My husband like
yeah, like you don't know how to deal. Like
But
she's
it's
like,
so
you know how to
true.
deal with that. It's like this ninja like Jedi thing. It's like
I've already had like people ask me like, what is a publicist? Do you mind like?
oh
saying what a publicist
yeah.
is real quick?
So it depends on your industry.
Yeah.
My particular industry is entertainment, and so what my job is in very basic terms is I communicate a message about something to a target audience in a way that is organic and accessible and speaks very specifically to that audience. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
no, that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And then I throw parties too.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's the glamour part. That's the part where people are like, I want to be a publicist.
Yeah.
I want to go to parties all the time and be famous people.
That's where we hang out with you at.
I mean, like, that's what I hire Angel to do. That's what so.
It's so much fun.
So what was the story you were about?
Oh, yeah. So my first boss, the bro, I was working the front door for him at Sundance on something. And he was like, you're so good at the front door because, like, a grown man walking up will start to worry if he's on the list.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thank you.
For real.
I mean, like, I was probably always a little bit, like, at the beginning, but I think that,
No, same. I mean, I
confidence
wasn't.
came with time. And negotiating especially.
Oh, no.
Like, I don't know if you get, like,
No, I've.
people try to lowball you.
But I've learned that from you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you've helped me with that. Cause you yelled at me one time.
I'm so
Remember?
proud.
You did. I've like yelled at me one time.
I didn't yell at you.
Kind of.
I
Yelled
strongly motivated you to know your worth and value.
You're like, Angel, don't ever chop your rate like that.
I did.
One of the things that I hate when people approach me is, hey, you mind if I can, take you out to lunch? I can pick your brain. You know what that sounds like to me?
Pick your brain.
Pick your brain?
I know.
No.
There's certain people I do like I would let you pick my brain.
But when we're talking though, I'm really like I said, I look at you as a mentor, and I'm like just seeing from your experience. I'm not like I'm gonna go take you out, take whatever knowledge you've taken years and years to develop or learn, and just take it from you. I feel like a lot of people have like the audacity to really just come to you, be like, oh, you spent this much amount of money in school to learn this craft and develop this professionally for 10 years. Can you just teach me everything? Like, what do you think? Like, maybe in 2 sessions? And I'm just like, wow.
So hardcore. I like created a monster.
You did this!
I know! I need to tell it back a little. I like to assume that people are coming from a good place. After my experience with thinking that Cheryl was scheming when really she was truly just like an angel on earth, and I was really the horrible person.
Yeah.
I like to assume that people are coming from a good place. So I like to assume when someone says something to me that I would consider not professional, like, can I pay you per press hit I receive? Or, what if I write everything for you? Can I get a discount on the rate? I like to think that they are just, they're coming from a good place. They just don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's so cute, but like that's actually not what we do. So what I do, like, there might be someone out there who does do that, and like, go find them.
No, I love hearing that perspective because I feel like I've been
a lot of people don't know. Yeah.
Like in the past.
Yeah.
So I'm just like rebuilding, trying to regain that.
Well, and you've got a nose for it. Like, you can sniff out someone shady. Like, I had someone who kept like trying to lowball me because they would say like, oh, but I can introduce you to so-and-so and they'll hire you for so-and-so. Or we have so many films coming down the pipe.
Oh, man.
Those are the worst.
My favorite is like, oh, but I have future work for you that's going to pay. And I'm like, I'm not.
I have 0 time for that shit.
Yeah. Like, that's wonderful, however.
Yeah, my rate though.
Yeah, my mortgage needs to be paid on the 1st of the month.
I gotta pay my rent with your future promises.
No.
Not today.
And like, I've been in indie film long enough to know the people that are like, if this film is gonna get into Sundance, this film is gonna change the landscape, this film is gonna disrupt everything. I'm like, maybe it will. Maybe it will, and I'll be the one sitting in the corner, like a Bohemian Rhapsody, that like record executive that was like, oh, I lost Queen. Like, maybe that'll be me when you change the face of filmmaking. And like,
if you had to give a young lady trying to make a break in this world some advice, what would it be?
My advice would be to be tenacious. Just keep going for it. Be respectful. Know how to test the room and the water. Like, I've been in rooms before where it was very clear that there was only one person supposed to be conducting that meeting.
And then know how to read it.
And then know when it's a situation where someone is truly open to input from everyone. And I know that sounds really like the hierarchy and like old school, but like that's the way a lot of rooms still work.
Sometimes you just have to
Yeah, sometimes no one wants to hear from the assistant. Like, I have cousins that have just gotten out of college or just starting college, and that generation has this really terrible rap of being very self-involved and egocentric. And I think you, as a young person, need to know that going into the room, the people who are making the decisions already have that assumption about you. And so you really need to show them that you're hardworking, you're respectful, you're going to show up early, you're going to, leave. Show up early and prepared. As a young person coming in, figure out what you uniquely can bring to the situation and how your unique skills and gifts and abilities can benefit your company as a whole, because that's when you start getting recognized.
Going back to one of our episodes, create leverage.
Create leverage. Oh, I saw that one though. And y'all were like, we know millionaires. It's true though. Create leverage. Like,
you have to.
Yeah, like go in, like, I was really good at working the door. I could stand outside in the cold with a clipboard and a piece of paper, and you could tell me that you were the junior intern assistant head blah 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 of the yakety yakety, and you had just gotten, everyone has funding from China, and like you could tell me that you just got like $1 million funding from China, and like I could still be like, that's cool, you're not on the list. Right. And I know I could bring that to my organization like immediately. So whenever we had an event, I would always be like, I'll work the front. And I would volunteer every single time. And like, that is something that I think when the young people I've seen who have really climbed up the ranks quickly or who have found a lot of success are the ones that identify what they're good at that can serve the organization.
Well,
Thanks, guys. This is so much fun.
Yeah.
Yay,
On that note, remember to like and subscribe, share.
Leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
Oh yeah, and by the way, we're on Spotify and iTunes now, so if you don't have time to watch it, you can listen to us in the car.
That's right.
Whatever.
Leave a review if you like it, 5 stars, and that will help more people find the show because it will aggregate you higher in the iTunes
doing
store.
her PR work already.
Wow.
Let's get it.
Like, subscribe, review. Thank you.